everybody. Hello, my Instagrammers. Hello, my Facebookers. It's so good to be here with you. I'm Donna Hoffman. They call me the Interior Design Advocate because I take brilliant women just like you under my wing and I advocate on your behalf in all things design in order to help empower you, get you even wiser to get gorgeous results at your home, stop those disappointing results. We've got amazing online courses. I do free workshops, and I also come out here every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. We stop what we're doing in our luxury design company, and we come out here specifically to talk to you and teach you a lesson on something. So as I'm just getting some waves and some hellos of people signing on Instagram, just want to let you know that next week we are making a huge announcement. Big, big, big. You definitely want to tune in next week for that. You do not want to miss it. Some very exciting stuff that we're bringing to you and doing for you and opening up for you as well. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. So I got to let you know that today I had a really funny thing happen as I'm just waiting for some people to sign on. I had to do some site visits. Remember, we also run a luxury interior design company, aside from my being one of America's leading design coaches, as I've been called. So aside from that, I also run a luxury design company, and I had some site visits to make. And one of the site visits has a very, very, very long, kind of winding driveway. And the last time I went to this site, up that long, windy driveway, there was a lot of activity at the residence, and so somebody was actually leaving the residence as I was driving up the driveway. It's a one-lane driveway. Somebody was leaving, and that somebody was my client. I had to back down this windy, crazy driveway. Actually, it's not so crazy. It's just thin, and it curves and things. It was not pleasant. I was driving all over his freshly seeded grass. Well, to stop myself from doing that, I then put myself back into drive. I go forward, then I had to get back on my path here. It was horrifying, and I finally, in a moment of frustration, I try not to curse, but I did, and something came flying out of my mouth that you really didn't need to be a talented lip reader to be able to tell what swear word came flying out of my mouth. Rhymes with duck. Anyway, so when my client finally, there was a little pull-off part on this driveway. When I finally pulled over to the side, he rolled down his window, and I said, how'd you like my driving? He said, oh, very impressive. And he kind of made fun of me a little bit. And then he didn't say anything to me about seeing me do that little swearing thing. But the next week when I was back at the residence, he was telling his wife about my impressive driving skills. And he also mentioned, and do you know that Donna said a bad word? I was a little embarrassed about it. But anyway, so today I had to go to this same site to check in on some other elements. And don't you know, as I'm coming through just the beginning of this driveway, I see another car leaving the residence far away. And I thought, oh, no, you don't. I backed out basically into traffic pretty much to get out of that driveway so I could just pull over to the side and let whoever was leaving the residence leave the residence. I did not want to go through another backup heart attack because I really am good at that driveway in drive, but in reverse, not so hot. Anyway, speaking of hot, let's talk about hot trends, shall we? We're going to be talking about hot trends at the furniture market. We had an amazing whirlwind of a time at the High Point Furniture Market in April, and we wanted to come out here and talk to you a little bit about those furniture trends. I know trends can make you guys a little nervous about what's coming, what's happening. So I want you to know that there are ways to incorporate these trends into what you already own. And if a trend is something that you don't particularly like very much, then just let the trend pass you by and don't hop on. Pretty easy. So I'm just going to go through some of my notes here. Okay. So some of these things aren't that different than what we were talking about to you from the Maison and Objet show in Paris. So we're still seeing those curved sofas. Those are going to be a little hard to mesh with some of what you own, but in addition to the curved sofa, the kidney sofas and so forth, and by curved sofas, I'm talking about things like this is just the Arteriors catalog that came to our office. There's a curvy guy, and then there's here's sort of a Chesterfield that wants to be curvy, right? See how he's starting to pick up curve. And there's another curvy sofa. So you're getting the gist, right? Kidney sofas, curvy sofas, right? This is, again, the Arteriors catalog that just came. So in addition to those curvy sofas, we're also seeing a lot of barrel chairs. So barrel chairs are a much easier mesh with things that you might already own. If you are not a curvy sofa person and you need a new sofa, you might want to think about just doing a simple track arm. They are still relevant. They're still current. It's sort of like the basic black dress of all of design. That track arm really has held itself well. And then with a track arm, you can easily add a couple of barrel chairs, those rounded chairs, to kind of get on trend if that's something that you'd like to do. So saw a lot of curved sofas, saw a lot of barrel chairs, saw a lot of upholstered beds still, but now they're changing. So it's not just the upholstered headboard or upholstered headboard and footboard, or just upholstered headboard, footboard, and side rail. We're starting to see some embellishment where those upholstered head and footboards have a metal surround to them, really good looking, or a wood surround to them, really good looking, or a full canopy in wood or in metal that's integrated also by way of any bordering or banding that's happening. So those upholstered headboards and footboards and beds still out there, but they're just starting to shift a little bit. A lot of channel tufting. So talked about that at the Paris Maison and Objet show. It's still out there and it's still gaining a lot of steam. And not just horizontal channel tufting, but also vertical channel tufting, and also channel tufting, as we saw in Paris, you know, on benches, on headboards, on sofas, on chairs. Really interesting applications. Lucite still holding its own, and not just as a blingy look. I mean, we saw some interesting pieces. Theodore Alexander had some great desks that had lucite legs, and then there was a drawer floating in it that looked like it was wrapped in chagrin or in hide. So some really interesting combinations of materials as well. But lucite's still definitely out there for legs, for embellishments. Still seeing a lot of cantilever furniture, chairs that have open and exposed legs, at leg bases, that real 1950s and 60s kind of look as well. Consoles and console cabinets as an accent. Really interesting wood detailing, or it's wrapped in hide, or it's, you know, hair on hide, or it's, again, you know, wrapped in chagrin, or it just has really interesting oversized metal hardware, or the hardware almost becomes sort of like jewelry on it. Lots and lots of really interesting cabinets, whether it was a media cabinet or even a bar cabinet, but with that kind of accent piece, kind of, I don't want to say bling, because it wasn't always blingy. Sometimes it was rustic looking, but it definitely had a lot of personality. Conversation piece, that's what I was looking for. What else? So in terms of colors, still seeing blue, very important. Millennial pink not going away. Green still happening strongly. That nice shade green. Still seeing teal having a relevance, and yes, gray is still having a moment out there. It's not the only story, but it's still out there for those of you who are worried about gray going away. Cream is still really gaining steam, as is white. And I think that the cream and white trending is going to have a long life because of Instagram. Because on Instagram, light, bright, white interiors just look good. They do. They look better than saturated interiors, unfortunately. Because I can tell you where I live in practice, not all of our clients want white on white interiors. Many of them don't. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. In terms of texture, seeing a lot of texture and mixtures of texture. So you might see a metal legged chair with a fluffy fabric like a lamb's wool. We saw, in fact, Katie was saying, you know, in 3 out of 5 showrooms, we saw these fluffy chairs. It was some sort of wool or faux wool or a lamb's wool kind of look, or furry kind of something. Definitely saw some cool hair on hide happening, wrapping furniture. Still seeing those hide rugs. So hides, furs, that fluff, still important out there. And definitely seeing a lot of metal as an accent to furnishings, whether it's on the leg, those exposed metal bases, interesting flourishes, interesting hardware, and in all colors. We're not just seeing those silvers. We're still seeing the golds, the burnished golds, the polished golds. Silver is not going away. And again, the lucite piece, where lucite legs on a sofa, lucite legs on a chair, or even lucite canopy. Really cool. We saw a couple of interesting lucite canopy bed frames, and then the corner pieces were in a great metal, like like a burnished gold, that sort of thing. And then in terms of trend, still seeing, you know, the Scandinavian modern, still seeing rustic, still seeing farmhouse, definitely seeing some maximalism starting to come here to the US, the good old US. We had the great pleasure of running into Alexa Hampton at the Theodore Alexander showroom, and she was just sort of hanging back and talking to some people very casually, you know, hanging on one of her sofas. And the first room you walk into, before we started to talk to her, we interrupted. It was fun. Total maximalism. I mean, rich red sofa, curved back, tufted. Katie's favorite, the really long fringes, lots of pattern on the rugs, lots of pattern in the pillows. So we're seeing, as a reaction to the minimalism and all that white, white, and more white, we're seeing this maximalism, lots of pattern, lots of detailing. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes in the future as well. So I think that pretty much covers, so I know when people say, oh my gosh, is gray going away? Something that we do see changing a little bit, you know, that whole restoration hardware, limed, grayed down wood. It looks like driftwood, that whole thing that RH started. RH, calling them like it's my my best friend, restoration hardware. But anyway, so what we're seeing with that type of wood finish, we're seeing that we're still seeing that liming, but now it's not gray. Now it has a definitive brown undertone or beige undertone. So here's what I want you to know. Don't panic about any of this. Again, if you don't like a trend, let it pass you by. Definitely there's a case to be made for not just opening up a catalog, even one of your favorite catalogs, and just buying the whole page. You know, maybe you want to mix some trend materials and make something that's a little more authentically yours rather than recreating a restoration hardware page, because then you can make your interior look a little bit dated. But basically, we're seeing that their eclecticism is still happening, and that's the good news for all of us, right? So if you're not loving those, you know, browned limed woods, then don't go near those, and then stick with what you have and maybe add pieces that have more saturation, midtones. And we're still seeing mid-tone stained woods, we're still seeing dark woods, we're still seeing black ebonized woods. We're still seeing it all. It's just what's the new thing, and that's really where trending comes in. I think the hardest thing in all of trending that people will have to contend with, getting that curved sofa to work with your, I don't know, your sock armchairs or your scoop armchairs, your traditional silhouettes. That's going to be hard to do. Or even some of your transitional silhouettes if they're very traditional leaning. That's why I said, think about if you are doing a sofa right now and you don't want to get trendy, do a simple track arm. We're still seeing squared pieces for sure. And then you might want to add your curve by way of, you know, some great tub chairs, barrel chairs, that sort of thing. Still seeing tufting, heaven blessed tufting. Gotta love a good tuft. We're seeing everything from deep pillow tufting to very, very light button tufting. And again, channel tufting is probably the biggest, newest surge. So if you have questions, I'm happy to take them. I see some comments coming in on Facebook. So we have Garinda chiming in from Canada. Hello, Canada. So good to have you, Garinda. I hope I'm saying your name properly. I apologize if I'm not. Jill is saying she's excited to be here and always have a work meeting now. Oh, so she can be here now. That's great, Jill. So good to have you. And Jill's loving the metal accent news. That's good. I really like when I can deliver news you like. You know, there's that joke about the Shakespeare plays. You know, everybody is having a big battle or a big argument, and then, you know, some messenger comes running in and says in his, you know, really breathless voice, "The Queen, my lord, is dead." And then everybody stops arguing on stage, turns up stage, looks at the messenger, and shoots the messenger. Hence the expression, don't shoot the messenger. So I'm happy when you guys like the news I'm giving you. So there you go. And if you're throwing Rotten Tomatoes at the screen, I can't feel it. So Kate is saying, I love your videos. Thank you for sharing with us. Kate, you're so welcome. I'm so glad to have you with us, and I'm so glad to be of service. Missy's saying, how do trends get going? What people are ordering or what manufacturers and designers start? Missy, you are so smart to ask that. I don't know which one of my courses. Do you know, Katie, which course I give away a free trend workshop? I think it's the design CPR course. It is so good. And unfortunately, it's a special bonus that's part of that course. So I can't just kind of give it to you. It's something that's given to the participants in that course. But I'll give you the quick Reader's Digest version, Missy. We designers are always going to shows, both domestically and abroad, to see what is on the design mind of furniture manufacturers and designers. Furniture manufacturers have designers on board, meaning furniture designers. What are the wall covering designers doing? What are the paint designers doing? Yes, they're designing, new colors, new color palettes. What's on the mind of the design community? And we're looking for little seeds of what will get started. And then you also look to high-end hotels and what are some of the international designers doing in those hotels that are different, that are pushing boundaries. We also look at high-end design because those clients want something that's very unique and distinctive. And you see where luxury designers are pushing forward, trying something different. At the highest end of design, our clients are not necessarily saying, hey, give me a white kitchen. They might say, yeah, give me a white kitchen in this residence, but in that residence, I want something different. I'm tired of the white kitchen. So that's where these seeds happen. And then, a publisher, or rather an editor for a magazine says, ooh, that's interesting. I'm going to show that. And at the same time that's happening, people are starting to pin things. So you as a consumer start to get exposed to things and they start to catch on a little bit. You might have seen curved sofas coming in about 1.5 years ago and said, I don't know. But now, latest issue of Better Homes and Gardens, boom, hello, curved sofas are just all over the place. So what starts to happen for you as a design consumer is you start to see it more and you go, oh, I'm getting a little used to that. It's not so jarring. And then you start to come around to the dark side on whatever that new trend might be. And then at the same time this is happening, Missy, retailers, catalogers like the Ballard catalog and Wisteria websites and catalogs, and then XYZ furniture store, they are going to these shows as well to say, hey, what are the new trends and what do I think customers in my country will purchase or in my geographic location will purchase? I personally design heavily in the Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey region of the United States and in some of the more suburban areas. What those clients and families are asking for is different than what clients in Philadelphia city, the city of, are asking for, or Dallas or Chicago. So different pockets of every country have a different design style that they're kind of going toward popularly. So retailers are trying to guess what's going to sell. Catalogers and internet groups that have internet retailers that have a big, for broadcasted geographic region, they're just trying to say, hey, what do we think will sell? So Missy, it's about what's the new idea? What does a retailer think will sell? What are we in the design community doing to push things forward and to push the boundaries? And there are ways to read trends, and there's a way to see what a trend life will be. And that's just a big workshop. And I teach that out in that freebie, or in that bonus, I should say. So hopefully, Missy, I gave you enough to get that gorgeous head of yours excited and going. Katie is passing me notes. What are your thoughts? Well, she's passing me questions, not just notes. What are your thoughts on mixing velvet and leather from Raina? Raina, you smart, gorgeous woman, you. I love it. There is no more beautiful way, in my thinking, to warm up leather than to add velvet to it. Oh my gosh, it's a great combo. And short of leather, you could do chenille. But why go chenille if you can go with velvet, right? Velvet's good. I don't know if I said that backwards or not, but leather and velvet are very, very happy bedfellows, as they say. So that's a great question, Raina. If you have a follow-up, zip it my way. Martina's saying, hey, finally catching you live. Martina, hugs and kisses. I'm glad you're here. Connie is saying, how would you update a cherry dining set? Oh, it's too expensive to replace. Connie, I know. But Connie, you have a brilliant idea. Tufted chairs. I love it. So that's what I would do, Connie. Especially think about it, Connie. If you have a cherry set, and I'm guessing you might even have that Queen Anne cabriole leg, go with something that isn't super curvy, right? Maybe you want to get that leg simple and straight on your new upholstered chairs, and maybe the back of the chair will have a little bit of curve, or maybe there'll be a little bit of an indicated arm or slope where you'll get curve in another way. If you wanted to, you could also do 2 hostess chairs right at the lead of the table, and then your side diners could be a different upholstered chair, different silhouette. So that's a great way to update that that cherry. And I'm assuming that it's like a Queen Anne style, but I could be wrong there, Connie. So hopefully that helps. Jane is saying, is navy big now? Jane, smart question. I love you guys. The questions are so good. I remember my guidance counselor office in 8th grade. Not that I was there because I was in trouble. I was just there playing and stuff. But I love, there's a little quote that said, there are no stupid questions. There are only stupid answers. So I love that quote. Ask me anything you ever want, guys. If I can't answer you, I'll tell you. If I can't answer you. So Jane, my love, is navy a hot color? Is it big now? Navy is a key color. Navy should never go away. Just like gray, just like white, just like cream, just like black, just like tan. It's a color. I don't want you to be afraid of hopping onto a color. It's the delivery of the color, right? So we're seeing a lot of navy on upholstered goods, popularly so, and I still think it has a lot of legs. But I got news for you. I don't see navy going away as a key, almost a neutral grounding color in an interior, whether it's an accent band on something or whether it's an accent fabric on a chair. So I think you could feel very good about committing to navy and having a good time with it. I gotta tell you, I almost get annoyed when I specify a color for some upholstery, Jane, and then a showroom says, Donna, I think that color is gonna start trending. I think, trying to do something distinctive for this client, and you know, in 3 years everybody's going to see color blah in the catalogs. I don't think there's a way around it. I think color is this marvelous medium we have in design, and you know, colors are going to just keep coming and going and rolling as trends, but no time period has sole ownership of a color, Jane. And I say that to you to free you with it. There's a blogger who I really like. I think she puts out some great stuff, but I don't agree with when she issues these proclamations. Ooh, throwing my glasses around. You know, this looks, you know, you can tell when this was designed because of the color of the wall. Well, sometimes you can, but sometimes you can't. Just did a fantastic library for somebody in color. The cabinetry is wrapped in the color because she didn't want the same old, same old. It's a color she loves. So it's not about the color, it's about the delivery of the color. If one time period owned a color, then none of us would ever touch French gray ever again. That would simply be the domain of Louis XV. Well, now you and I might do something with some French blue gray, but we're not going to put it on a fauteuil chair, or we're not going to upholster it on a wall with shell and acanthus leaf plasterwork. Okay, it's now we might put that French blue gray on a tufted sofa, a channel tufted sofa, right? So it's the same color, but it's the delivery of it. Hopefully that helps you, Jane. I feel good about navy, and you should too. All right, there you go. So Katie's telling me last 2 questions. Oh boy. Okay, Anita is asking, so last 2 questions. And by the way, if you're just joining us now, you missed the big announcement at the beginning of this Facebook Live. The big announcement is, there's a big announcement coming next week. Big, really big. You know what, Katie's laughing at me. It's big. You don't want to miss it. It's a big announcement. You've got to be here next week for it. Next Tuesday, the 30th of April. 4 p.m. And you know what we're talking about next week at 4 p.m. as a teaching lesson? Why is color so confusing? I could have put an expletive in there, but my mother raised me with better manners than that. Plus, don't you get shut down on Facebook if you start swearing like a maniac? I would hope so, is Katie's answer, and I think she's right. Yeah, so why is color so confusing? All right, that's what we're talking about next week. So get your last 2 questions in. Here's one now from Anita. Anita says, what's the best couch for comfort? Okay, Anita, so I want you to go do some shopping in a real furniture store, like a bricks and mortar furniture store. And I want you to pay attention to what feels best for you. I don't know how tall you are. Your height might affect how deep you want a sofa to be. Sofas can be 39 deep. They can be 41 deep. So I want you, Anita, to bring along a measuring tape. So you can measure the depth from the front of the cushion to the inside back of the sofa. So when you sit on something that's comfortable, you can say, oh, I really like this type of depth. Also, I want you to pay attention to, I'm getting all kinds of thumbs up and hearts on Facebook on that one, so that rang a bell for somebody. But I also want Anita to think about what type of pitch you like on that sofa. The pitch is how a manufacturer literally sits you into a piece of upholstery, how well they support your back. And I want you to pay attention to, do you like a loose back cushion sofa or do you like a tight back cushion sofa? Let me see, look, visual aids. Here, these are all tight back, many of them, right? Where the cushion, there's no separate cushion at the back of the sofa, right? That's called a tight back sofa. I have visual aids today, I'm so excited. Those are my high-tech visual aids. So I want you to pay attention to what supports you well. Some people love the full, deep support and stiffer support of a tight back. Other people think, no way, Jose, I need something that's just gonna let me mush into, I need, down filling. I need to just kind of disappear into this sofa. Well, then you want a loose back cushion sofa, where you have literal cushions that are either loose entirely or they're slightly tacked to the sofa. So I want you to do some sitting and some studying. And the last thing, Anita, I want you to think about is when you find a sofa that's comfortable, ask the salesperson, hey, what's the fill on this? Is this a down cushion? Is this a foam cushion? Is it a foam with a wrapping of down? Is it an inner spring with then foam and whatever else we can shove in there down? So pay attention to what you like, because I can't give you an answer. I look at how tall my clients are. I like to take them shopping if I can, because I like to see how their leg line hits a piece of upholstery, where their knee gets support in a piece of upholstery. But upholstery preference for sit is very individual. Some people like something super cushy. I don't have a great low back. I've blown enough discs as a designer lifting and things I should not be lifting. So I do like a supportive sofa. So I want you to do a little bit of experimenting there. I'm sure there is a shorter answer. You didn't have it. Sorry about that. Hope it helped you, Anita. All right, one last question. Do I have any last questions here? I got a lot of questions. What are your thoughts about painting a 40-year-old cherrywood bedroom set to an update, French blue? I don't know if I painted French blue, but I love the idea of painting it. I love the idea of painting furniture to update it without, stressing the bank, Judy. But I'd have to know more about your design fingerprint, your design style, what else you've got going on before I commit to French blue on that. But as a concept, I'm not shutting it down. I think it's a possibility. But I love the idea of painting it. I just can't give you a definitive stamp on what color. All right, Katie, I have all these questions. And Katie said we only have time for 2 more. Oh my gosh, we're going long. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I'll try to get 2 questions in now. Boop. Jill is saying, rules for a chandelier over a circular table with a vaulted ceiling. It turns into an oblong. Do you do a long one or a round? Okay. Oh, your circular table turns into an oblong. It's going to sit in that circular shape most of the time, I'm guessing, Jill. So if it were me, I would go safe and hedge my bets, and I would go circular. Okay. And there are so many great circular fixtures that you can do a barrel shade, you can do things that have a lot of, depth to them. So I think you could do something pretty interesting, but I wouldn't do something oblong over a table that's primarily sitting as a circle. What kinds of patterns and upholstery goods are trending? From Ruth. That's a great question. Well, interestingly, at Market, we see a lot of solid. It's easier to see the upholstery silhouette when it's a solid. So that could be why. Did not, at Maison and Objet as well, we did not see a lot of upholstery goods in pattern. I don't know that we really saw a lot of upholstery goods. We saw a little bit of that, like organic-y, leafy thing, that like the big leaf is happening. So that we saw a couple of people doing that. Saw a couple of geometric, things. But for the most part, people were right. It was more on wallpapers and punch pillows, but that could be because it's a smarter way to sell upholstery. But here's the thing that I would say to you, Ruth. I would keep your pattern off of your main upholstery unless you've got deep pockets. I think it's easier to update a sofa that's a solid and get that pattern if you're a pattern person, which sounds like you are, Ruth. Easier to get that in elements around and let that sofa just let it be a sofa that you've had for 10, 20 years. If it's got great bones and a great clean silhouette like a track arm, you can just keep updating that puppy. And then if you want to do upholstery with a little bit of pattern, do that on, an accent chair or a pair of accent chairs or even an upholstered ottoman or bench. So hopefully that'll help you. How do you make accessory choices? I tend to overdo them and then they lack cohesiveness. You need hints. Sydney, I have a great workshop. How do we get Sydney to that free workshop? I don't know. Sydney, I want you to contact the interior design, customer service at the Interior Design Advocate. Is that right? Customer service at the Interior Design Advocate. I should know this stuff, Sydney. And ask them, say, Donna wants me to have the link to the free workshop about accessorization. At the end of that workshop, I do talk about a great course I teach all about how to accessorize like a boss to totally transform a room. If I'm not interested in purchasing the course, just, stick cotton in your ears when I'm talking about that, file your nails, but stick around for the Q&A is very good. But anyway, that would really be the way to answer that question because it's a topic and a workshop and a course, not a quick Instagram-y thing. There you go. And then all these questions coming in. I'm sorry. One more question. This is it. This is Ashley. She's the last question. Ashley is saying, any tips for walking the line of browns and grays in a home? I don't want to choose a single direction. Yeah, go with greige. Greige is a great chameleon color. It can go a little beige at times. It can go a little bit of brown, a little bit gray. It can go a little beigey at times. It's called greige. Hopefully that'll help you, but that's what I do when I know that a client can go one way or the other. All righty. Hey guys, so super to be here with you. Oh, I see Be Kind 72 is saying, I can help all my friends decorate, but I can't do it for myself. You know what that is, Be Kind 72? It's because you are overthinking things and you're afraid to make a choice. That happens for a lot of designers. They'd rather design for other people than for themselves because they see so many possibilities. So Be Kind 72, I would say get some great strategy under your belt so you know why you're doing what you're doing, not just operating with instinct. That's really what all of our courses are about. It's how to take strategy. So you have a whole path, start, middle, and end, how to get yourself there. No idea overload, no one-up ideas, no just flying by the seat of your pants, no instincts. It's about strategy because that's where your control, your technique comes from, right? So what you're saying there, Be Kind 72, is pretty normal. So hopefully that'll help you too. All right, lovelies, we got to scooch. We got stuff to go, stuff to do, places to go, people to see. We have that big announcement next week, so definitely get here next week, 4 p.m. Eastern, and I'll also be teaching about why, oh, why is color such a pain in the neck? Why is it so hard? Why is it so confusing? Why? We're going to tackle all that. Okay, dolls, I'll see you next week. It was great seeing you. You look good, love your hair, and you look like you've lost some weight. I like it. Okay, see you guys. Bye-bye.